Welcome, friends. Thank you very much once again for giving us your kindness and love. And thank you very much in this third episode of Himalayan series. And today we will going to talk about the very important aspect of the Himalayas and all in fact for all over the world, that is the biodiversity. So while talking to the biodiversity, firstly we will going to study that what is biodiversity. So when we talk about the biodiversity is the word biodiversity is it's made up from two words. One is the bio, which means the living, and diversity means the diversification. That means the different type of species that are living in particular ecosystem is generally known as the biodiversity. Despite of that, whether they are the plant species or the animal species or what type of species they are, they might be different type of biodiversity could be there, whatever the diversity with regard to the living system. So biodiversity can be of as I told you that it can be of in the form of different type of animal species and various plant species, and also it can also be of the marine species. Okay, so in an ecosystem, you know that different type of marine organism as well as the water bodies are also there. So in the water bodies also the a very complex and very huge biodiversity is present. So when we talk about the basic classification of the biodiversity, so it is broadly classified into genetic diversity, which is basically the diversification in the genetic system or the genes. Then the species biodiversity, where the different type of species are present in an ecosystem. Then we are having the ecosystem diversity, when for example we are talking about the land or we are talking about the water. So different type of ecosystems are present. So in the diversity in these ecosystems are known as the ecosystem diversity. So why this Himalayan biodiversity is very special? See, Himalaya, we all know that Himalaya, or is particularly the Eastern Himalaya and this Western Ghat, they are known as the biodiversity hotspot. And in the Himalayan region, so many flora and fauna is there, and a very huge distribution of the species is there. So when we talk about the mammalians, so in the Himalayan region, around 280 species of mammals are present, and around 940 species of the birds are present, and somewhere around 316 species of the fishes are present. Okay, then if we will include also the reptiles, we will see that around 27.6% of the total vertebrate diversity of India is present in the Himalayan region. So we can say that this is a very huge biodiversity, and it comprises around almost 30% of the total vertebrate biodiversity of the India. So this is a very important thing. So when we talk about only of the fauna, or we can say the the animal biodiversity, so we will found that two particular places are there. One is the Western Himalaya, or the Western Himalaya, which is particularly the Uttarakhand Himalayan region. It comprises of 1,20,022 species, and then the most important one is the Eastern Himalaya, that is 1,41,083 species are present in that particular area. So you can say that this is a kind of hotspot for the biodiversity. Then we will see, when we talk about the plant diversity, we will find that different type of different medicinal plants or different similar forest or non-timber or timbers are present in various altitudes. So firstly we will have the sal tree, followed by the oak trees, and the pine trees are also there. Then we are, if you will go into the more high altitude, you will find the deodar there, and finally we are having the grasslands, okay, which is known as the bukyal. And in many of these places in the high altitude area, we will also find the rhododendron. Okay, so rhododendron is commonly known as boras. Okay, so in fact, if you want to see this particular lecture in Hindi, so you can also see our Hindi channel. The link of that is given in the description. So the important thing is that what are different kind of threats to the Himalayan biodiversity. See, in the Himalaya, so many type of encroachment is being done, and so many human intervention is being there. So it is causing a quite threat for the Himalayan biodiversity. So firstly, the threat is climate change. So as the climate is changing due to pollution or due to excessive use of the vehicles and other things, the climate change is causing a very huge loss in the biodiversity. Rather, it is if we talk about the plant diversity or the animal diversity. Similar, excessive human intervention, as I told that human intervention is too much. Like the people, in fact, so many organizations, including the public or the private organizations, they are they are developing in the name of infrastructure. They are developing the roads and many other infrastructure activities are going on. I'm not saying that all these are bad, but it should be done in a very sustainable manner, okay? Because due to these, so much of landslides are there, and so much of the problem is there, and particularly when the deforestation is there, so it is causing a loss of biodiversity. Then similarly, unsustainable exploitation is there, and we are also having the problem of deforestation, okay, which is also a very major threat. That earlier, you can see, if you will visit the Himalayan places, you will find earlier that there was too much of the forest was there, but nowadays the forest cover is becoming less and less, okay. It might be increased in the paper, but if you will see practically, you will find that there will be a very less forest cover is there in many places. Then the increase in the wildlife trade is also a very major problem. So many wildlife or so many animals are being traded or are being exploited due to very important substance within these. For example, the skin of the animals like tigers and leopard is it is being sold in the market. Then similarly, the Himalayan musk deer is there, which the musk is being exploited, and it is also being killed. Then so many exotic species introduction is also being done. So for example, if we talk about the pine is one of the exotic type of species. Exotic species means the plant which is not endemic to particular region, and it can cause different type of harms to the region, okay. For example, if we talk about the pine forest, so particularly the Britishers, they have introduced the pine forest in India, and now this pine is encroaching. It is one of the major cause of the landslide, and it is not allowing any other plant to grow at that particular area. Then the pollution, as I have said. So these are some of the very major threat to the Himalayan biodiversity, and we have to make sure that we have to prevent such kind of threats, okay. Otherwise, what will happen? So many of the plant as well as the animal species are becoming endangered, and many of these are already vanished, okay. So for this, I want to stop this particular topic, and we will study in detail about many other these kind of biodiversity in upcoming vlogs, okay. So please, if you like our content, please do like, share and subscribe, and also comment and let me know what else you need. So this is the very initial kind of introductory vlogs which I am making currently in this Himalayan series. Later on, we will make the separate series on, let's say, on plants of the Himalayas, on the animals of the Himalayas and all, okay. So thank you very much. Thank you so much.